Surprised to see me? I thought not. So I'm not going to bore you with where I've been the past couple of years, what I've been up to, but it involved a lot of school, involved getting my life going. So I'll just end it right there. And I'm going to talk about the show that happened, I guess, yesterday, because it's close to 2:30 in the morning right now, where I am. Wrestlemania 30. I'm going to flat out say this. This is the most newsworthy wrestling event probably ever. I can't think of a wrestling event where coming out of it there are so many things. Like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line, if wrestling is still around in this fashion, I don't have any wood to knock on, but it probably will be. There are moments from this show that are going to be mentioned even beyond that. This show had probably the most unexpected thing to ever happen in wrestling ever. It also had one of the biggest wins ever. Also had like I said, quite a few epic moments. So I don't normally run down the card saying, here's my star rating for this, here's my star rating for this. But just on a different sense, let me look at this in a different perspective. The opening segment. The three biggest wrestlers of all time, the three biggest names in wrestling history, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, come out there, talk about the event, talk about how great it is to be in the ring with each other. That was nice. That was very nice. A lot of people said it went too long. I was fine with it, at the length that it was, and I liked that it was kicking off the show. I liked the fact that they played off of Hulk Hogan's mistake about saying the Silver Dome. And I thought it was a very nice moment, especially since quite a lot of people know that Austin and I guess Austin and Hogan maybe buried the hatchet, but I know up until a couple of years ago, apparently there was still a beef between them. So that was a very nice moment to see, if I do say so myself. One of the things that kind of upset me when I found out was that the tag title match was on the pre-show, and when I saw the tag match and it was a fantastic match, I was a little upset at the fact that it was not included on the show. So yeah, that was a hell of a match to kick off the event. I wish it was on the show. However, going through my head, normally I say, why didn't WWE put this on the pay-per-view? You know, it should have been on here instead of this and this and this. This year, there were no bad matches, in my personal opinion. Nothing bad. So there's nothing I can say in my head. The only thing I would change is I would have taken maybe 5 to 7 minutes off of Lesnar Taker. But that's about it. So there's nothing I would really change. So I'm saying I want it on the card, but I would there's nothing I would take off because I loved everything about this show pretty much. The opener, Daniel Bryan Triple H, was a fantastic match in my opinion. I loved it. It's probably the most I've enjoyed a Triple H match in quite some time. Bryan put on a hell of a show here. Him selling his arm throughout the entire match was great. It made for terrific psychology. It made for a hell of a comeback for him when he won the match. Ending was kind of out of nowhere with the coup de grace, but I was fine with it mainly because he got the win and he was probably going to have something more epic in the main event, which did happen. So yeah, hell of a match to kick off the show. Probably overall the best match of the night. The Shield match, the Shield versus Kane and the New Age Outlaws, was awesome. 3 minutes long, but it was 3 minutes of just them beating the fuck out of the corporation and making a statement, getting their revenge. That was perfect. That was very perfectly done and a great way to get the Shield over even more than they already are. So I'm hoping it leads to something else, and I'm glad that happened. I remember being so upset when they announced that match, but I'm very glad it happened right now. Let's see, what else? I'm just trying to remember the card in my head. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Started off as your typical battle royal. I didn't like the fact that there were 30 people in there. I hate when there's a lot of people in a ring just because it's very hard to see what the hell's going on, and guys can't really do anything because there's no room to do anything. Once it boiled down to like the final 10 to 15, it got a lot better. And the finish, here's the moment number 2 that will go on for quite some time. Antonio Cesaro lifting up the Big Show and body slamming him not only in the ring, but over the top rope. That was freaking awesome to see that spot, because that was a spot I don't think anyone was expecting. And a hell of a way to put Cesaro over. Earlier in the night, he'd broken away from the Americans there, and he turned, I guess Swagger turned on him, and then Cesaro beat the hell out of him. Cesaro here, I'm really hoping that they will do something with him. He has potential to be something huge, something great. He's already shown it, had a terrific match with John Cena on Raw, and a really good match with Randy Orton on SmackDown, I believe. Really good performance in the Chamber last month, so I'm really hoping that they will do something big with him. I see a lot of big stuff happening with him if they move forward. Then next was John Cena and Bray Wyatt. I really love this. Like, this is the kind of wrestling that I like. This is the kind of wrestling that tells a great story, that is very fun to watch, in my opinion. Like, I loved watching John Cena start to go crazy from Bray Wyatt getting in his head and everything like that. This was a smoke and mirrors match, but it was a great smoke and mirrors match. This was just a lot of stuff happening. The crowd was super into it, especially when John Cena started to go crazy. They started chanting "Whole World in the Hand," started doing the wave. That was awesome. Literally, I loved it, to be completely honest with you. Cena going over, I know it's going to piss a lot of people off, but for me, it's gotten to the point where if Cena goes over, it's because he's Cena, right? Bray Wyatt, it's not like Bray Wyatt got beat by Sheamus, or he got beat by even Randy Orton, or something like that. He got beat by the biggest star in the game and one of the biggest stars of all time. So yes, Bray going over would have been an awesome moment. Him losing to John Cena from the FU was fine by me, especially because I did love the match a lot, and because it did get a great reaction at the end, and it was the good guy overcoming the odds, especially John Cena going around the ring high-fiving everyone, his dad, even at the end of it. This was a great match, not only for Bray, but for John Cena, because a lot of the hate from John Cena is because of the fact that a lot of people feel he's shoved down your throats and pushed in the main event too much. This is the first time since WrestleMania 20, so 10 years, that John Cena has been in a match that was either that has not been in a match that was either the world title match or the main event match. So there you go. And like I said, I thought it was a great match for both. Cena needed like this big mid-card type thing. And I'm also going to point this out too. The video packages tonight were a freaking godsend. The WWE production team deserves a nice hearty bonus for their job. The Bray Wyatt John Cena stuff with Legacy by Eminem was a terrific promo. The Daniel Bryan promo before he faced Triple H I'd put it in like the top 3 promos I've ever seen. I put it up there with Austin Rocket X7 and Taker Sean before 26. That promo was incredible, and although I was already looking forward to the match, that got me into it even more somehow. So kudos to that. So yeah, Cena and Wyatt was a very good match, and really enjoyed it. Up next this was what a lot of people are referring to as the elephant in the room match. This match is going to get the most mixed opinion, mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings on it right now. The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Everyone already knows it's only 2:30 and it's become old news because everyone's been talking about it. The streak is now over. 21-1. Now, this match as a match up until the finish was good. It was one of those matches that got better as it went along. Easily Undertaker's worst match since probably the Mark Henry one. But like at Mania, I mean. But the crowd did get more and more into it when they started doing the false finishes and the false submission kind of stuff and thinking they were going to tap. Brock hit the first F5. Crowd didn't react to shit because they knew Taker was going to kick out. He hit the second F5 and the crowd reacted a lot more to that one because they get like second F5. Taker still kicked out. When they hit the third F5, we've seen Undertaker kick out of everything under the kitchen sink. I mean, in the Hell in a Cell match with Triple H, kicked out of like 3 pedigrees, and a sweet chin music, and then the year before that he kicked out of I think 3 pedigrees and his own tombstone, and the year before that it was a couple of sweet chin musics and a moonsault through the table. So we've seen Undertaker kick out of everything under the sun. Brock hit that F5, and it was one of those moments in time where you feel like time is standing still. As a wrestling fan, in my opinion, ref counts 1. Crowd is still like on their ass. They don't really think this is gonna. Crowd counts 2. Sorry, ref counts 2. Still nothing. Ref's hand goes down here. Everyone's thinking a kickout's coming. It hits 3. That's the reaction of most of the people in the arena. And they cut to 30 people in the crowd with the greatest reaction ever on their face. This is the most shocking thing of all time. From a wrestling fan, I've seen a lot of shocking things. I've seen a lot of upsets. Everyone who's been a wrestling fan has. Everyone who's a lifelong fan thought that the Undertaker streak was going to go on until he retired. But I'm guessing the thing might be is that now this streak is over, this might be the signal of Undertaker's retirement. Who knows? It could be. Maybe they're trying to set something up for a rematch for next year so Undertaker can get his win back. I'd be fine with Undertaker going right now. I love the Undertaker is one of my favorite ever, but he is 48 years old. He is broken down, as we saw tonight. He was not at his best tonight. Neither was Brock, for that matter. But I don't know. To me, this is a moment. Like I said, I don't know how I feel about it yet. It was shocking. It had my jaw dropped. I did not. I reacted heavily to it. I was watching with a couple of my friends and my little brother, and like I said, I don't know how to react to it. I'm sure a lot of people don't. Taker streak, it has been a big thing ever since it started. Ever since, well, Mania 21, probably Mania 19, Mania 21. Excuse me. But it's been a thing that's had its own match at WrestleMania every year since then. Undertaker defending the streak. Nowadays, now that it's ended, Undertaker really has no other reason to come back because it's done. And like I said, I really don't know what to say. Like I said, it's the most shocking moment in wrestling history, probably. So there's that. And no one saw this coming. Anyone who does is full of shit. Anyone who says they did is full of shit, I mean. As a match, it was good. Like I'd said, it probably around the 3-star mark. It did have a lot of good, like I said, it got better as it went along. But the crowd was just not into anything, like I said, because they didn't think that Brock had a chance. They were proven wrong, but they didn't think Brock had a chance. And also, Brock got completely blown up about 8 to 10 minutes into the match. And if he was in there with someone like Daniel Bryan or CM Punk or even Triple H, who can carry someone after that, that would have been fine. But he was in there with Undertaker, who is very old, very broken down, so that didn't help matters. They did the best they could with what happened, and it was a moment. It is a moment. And I have a feeling that unless one of those two guys pulls a Chris Benoit, hopefully they won't, that will go down as I'd even say right now that this is in my head is bigger than Hogan slamming Andre. This is bigger than Austin winning the belt for the first time. This is bigger than Cena and Batista winning the belts on the same night at WrestleMania 21. This is that big. This is that huge that it did that. So yeah, I think I've talked about this enough, but it was a moment. Let's just call it that. It was a moment. Then we had the Divas match, which shocked me by actually how much I liked it, and also how much the crowd was into it. You'd think after one of the biggest things that ever happened in wrestling, the crowd would not be into shit, but they were actually into quite a few things in this match, and it was a pretty solid overall match for the 6 minutes they had. A few nice spots. AJ wins, retains. I liked it. I thought it was okay, and I was expecting it to be horrible, so I was pleasantly surprised. Then we had the main event. Batista versus Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan. Ever since SummerSlam, the smarks have been all over Triple H, all over the whole angle about the corporation and everything like that. This was the culmination of that, and this is maybe even the culmination of the whole corporation, because even Kane and the Outlaws got squashed by the Shield. This was awesome. There is no better way to put someone over as the main eventer than they did tonight. Because not only did Daniel Bryan beat Triple H clean a few hours before this, he goes into this match with an injury, with a scripted injury, with Triple H and Stephanie still coming out, with Batista and Orton working against him and putting him through the table with an awesome powerbomb RKO spot, and still manages to win. This was such a mark-out moment. And coming from me, seeing, like, I was going to give the speech after SummerSlam, but I was going to do a video review after SummerSlam last year, but I went out after the show was over, and then I got pretty smashed when I came home, so I wasn't functioning to do it. And also, I was going to give a speech about how much Daniel Bryan meant to me as a wrestling fan and everything, but Orton had already won the belt at that point too. 5 years ago this month, I was at Ring of Honor watching the American Wolves versus Daniel Bryan and Tyler Black. It's just Daniel Bryan and Tyler Black. Bryan Danielson and Tyler Black in Ring of Honor. Both of those guys had huge wins at WrestleMania tonight. Bryan Danielson and Tyler Black. Bryan Danielson has gone from wrestling in front of a couple hundred, 300, 400, even 1,000, 1,500 people in Ring of Honor. Now he is the heavyweight champion of the world. He main evented WrestleMania 30. He main evented the 30th anniversary of the show. He walked out of the 30th anniversary of the show as the unified world champion. He's holding both belts now. This is awesome. I can't mark out too much because I do have a roommate and I'm very sure he is sleeping. But this was awesome. Coming out of this show, like I said, 4 big news stories. You got the opening segment, 3 of the biggest wrestling stars of all time in the same ring putting over each other in the event. That was very cool. Cesaro body slamming Big Show over the top rope. Daniel Bryan winning the title and overcoming all the odds in the freaking world all by himself. Undertaker streak over. Maybe career's over too. This is one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. Not only in terms of the wrestling was solid all the way through. We saw a couple of great matches. If we count the tag match, 3 great matches. But also it's very newsworthy. And this is the first WrestleMania in quite some time. I don't want to say when, but in quite some time where I'm looking forward to Raw tonight. I'm looking forward to, and to be honest, I haven't watched a full episode of Raw in quite some time. It's been, because I'm busy with a lot of stuff I'm doing. It's been, since I watched a full episode of Raw, it's been, I think, like 6 months. I usually just will read about it. If I see something great or something that I do want to see, I will end up watching it later. But yeah, I am going to make it a point, to stay at home tonight, watch Monday Night Raw, see what's going to happen. Because there are a lot of things that I want to move forward. There are a lot of answers that I want about Undertaker's status, about Daniel Bryan. I'm looking forward to what he has to say. I'm looking forward to Paul Heyman giving the most epic speech of all time about his client winning. I'm looking forward to anything Cesaro may have to say about body slamming Big Show over the top rope. All in all, hell of a show. One of the most newsworthy wrestling shows of all time. And a heck of a show at that. If you didn't see it, I strongly, strongly recommend it.